Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and I'm so happy that you're here. This podcast is a place for conversations about balancing a healthy lifestyle and being happy, more specifically, happy hour. Together, we'll explore all things wellness and wine. I hope you learn a little, laugh a lot, and along the way, know you're not alone on this balanced wellness journey. Ready to jump in? Pour something in your glass that makes you happy because it's time for Spandex and Wine. Hello and welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. I'm your host, Robin Hackney, and today's guest offers services to help women reclaim their self-confidence and experience a sense of empowerment. Emily Steele has been a photographer for 20 years. She's been featured in various magazines and in Times Square during New York Fashion Week. How cool is that? I really think you're going to enjoy this episode. I know that I was surprised in our conversation at how many similarities there are between our two businesses. Without further ado, I give you Emily Steele. Well, hey, Emily, welcome to the Spandex and Wine podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I've been excited to talk to you because what you do, some services that you offer is something that I've been interested in years, and I just haven't gotten up the courage. So I don't want to steal your thunder. I'm going to let you tell the listeners exactly what it is that you do and what you offer.
Good. No, you're fine. So I own Emily Steele Studios, and I'm a boudoir and portrait photographer, mainly focusing on boudoir more than anything. So very much like female empowerment, like rebuilding self-confidence, or just finding oneself again, too, is what we like aim for, and the biggest part of that. So that's the bulk of what I do. But I've been a wedding photographer for about 20 years. So I'm not new to the industry by any means. And
Right.
boudoir has been the last like decade. So
Okay.
yeah, but that's my heart and soul is boudoir photography.
And I think that's so cool. And I mean, you and I then from that aspect, we're in a similar business in that we try and help women just feel more comfortable in their skin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't imagine right now, like take me through the steps. I walk into your studio and I am so nervous. Let's just put me at ease.
Yeah. So I jokingly tell everybody the hardest thing to do is walk in through the doors, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to do an experience. I mean, how often are you running around in your skimpies in front of somebody that you don't know, right?
Right.
So incredibly vulnerable, and that creates fear, right? And instead, but to everybody else, vulnerability is courage in order to do something like that. So I like to twist that around and be like, no, sure, the hardest thing to do is walk in the door, but it's also the most courageous thing to do at the same time. Because we have we start with hair and makeup, and she's going to do a look for you that you love. Right. So it's the way that we approach the sessions is that I want to take our skill set, the hair and makeup artist, and mine, and use it to get you images that you love based off your style, your wishes, your consent, all of that too.
Right.
So we don't push anybody to do anything they don't want to do to you. That's just icky in my opinion too. Right.
Yeah. Yes.
So like we start with hair and makeup, and those girls, we've been friends for years. So it's kind of this weird, like, you're immediately in the friend group thing. Yeah. Like we just don't even question it. We'll start talking about our families and stuff. And we just assume you know everybody. That's just kind of our personalities, very just laid back, like best friends immediately kind of thing too. There's not a lot of stress in the environment as well. So I think that kind of helps a bit. And these girls, the hair and makeup artists, are crazy talented. So they're going to do exactly what you want as well. And as long as you love it, they set it, and then they're going to pack up and head out. You and I will take photos for about an hour and a half, give or take. I'm a little chatty, so it's usually a little bit longer. We're laughing and having fun, so and we'll do 3 outfits too. So you get a good variety of images as well. And then when we're done, I'm going to go upload everything, and then we're going to view and look at them same day too.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, nice.
Yeah. You're already there. So why not?
Oh, that's great. No, and I think it's so amazing because, I mean, just like you said, with the empowerment and reclaiming your confidence, because, every year, I guess last year I didn't do it, but I usually teach water aerobics, and there's always a few people that are like, I don't want to put a swimsuit on in front of other people. I'm like, well, first of all, we're busy. And, if someone is judging you for being in your swimsuit, they shouldn't be in my class. they
Yeah.
need to get out. Like we don't
Yes.
tolerate that kind of treatment. But so I can totally appreciate everything that you do and that you put them at ease.
Hmm. Well, the other, like what you said too, nobody cares. Here's the thing. If somebody is judging somebody else, that's a reflection of oneself,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're just projecting it is the word I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, most of us are too busy. We're on our phones. Like we just don't care what people are wearing or what they're doing as long as they're not hurting anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same way in the studio too. If people want to cover up, that's totally fine. But if they
Mm-hmm.
don't, that's also totally fine. Everything is done very tastefully as well,
Right.
but within consent. So I will
Right.
never, never say somebody like, take it off. That just joking sounds gross, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
could you imagine? Ugh, like, I just couldn't
Yeah.
imagine being in a session and you're like, no.
Yeah. No.
And the other thing is like I don't care what people wear. It's clothes are a prop to me is kind of how
Mm-hmm.
I look at it because it gives me ideas on where we can put the hands, how do we position it so that we can flatter the outfits, but also I'm not also super concerned about flattering the outfits. I'm more concerned about confident posing and making sure people feel great in
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's going to feel awkward and that's always the joke is that if it feels awkward, it looks great. That's the joke side of it. But the reality is that we don't every day sit up really tall. We don't
Right.
always have really good posture, right? And we're
Mm-hmm.
doing that in all day for an hour and a
Yeah.
half. So the body gets used. So my theory is that I want the body to get used to being in confident posing so that
Mm-hmm.
it can feel it. And then
Mm-hmm.
we see it in the images, and then the mind goes, oh, okay, I visualize it now. Now, how do I get it again? How do I
Mm-hmm.
go after that again? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going like, I'm looking long route is what I'm looking for too,
Right.
to help start changing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is kind of my goal.
And you said three different outfits. So
Yeah.
do we bring the outfits and you help us decide like what kind of things to bring?
Yeah. So what I tell everybody, I have a few things at the studio, and then I have like a little lingerie store for right now. So what I tell everybody is, you bring your three outfits, and then if you want to look through what I have, it's optional. There's no
Okay.
pressure. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like the sales pressure of things. So I
Right.
want it to
Yeah.
be like your voice matters, right? This is your
Mm-hmm.
day. It's about you. It's your decision. And we get a lot of women that have not had the opportunity to speak up and say what they want. And I'm like, nope, this is where we practice today,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And we get to do all of that too. And then there's no judgment around that. Because I think often, and I struggled with this too, of being able to say, well, I want XYZ. And then I worry what the other person will feel like if they don't
Yeah.
want it. So I don't know how many birthdays that we would do, get the friends together, and it would be my birthday. And I'm like, oh, let's go where everybody else wants to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I've had to work on that myself. And then so I translate that into the studio of it's your decision. If you want to look through what I have, great. If not, great. There is no hard feelings on any of this stuff. If you don't like an image that we took, great. That's fine. My ego is checked at the door. So it is
Yeah.
totally okay, right? To say no, to say yes, to say I want, I need, whatever. Like that's very encouraged in the studio. And
Yeah.
then to answer your question about the outfits, it's your personal style within your comfort zone. So, what I tell everybody, the way I do photos is we start most covered up to least covered up because I would hate to jump into a session and be like,
Right.
don't wear anything for your first. No, you're already nervous. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, not going to happen. We got to build to that a little bit, work out some of the nerves at first, do
Yeah.
simpler posing at first, and just kind of get into the swing of it too. And then we work into the outfits that are a little more revealing. So I tell everybody first outfit, most covered up, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
is for you. Maybe it's a
Mm-hmm.
robe and a little piece underneath. Maybe it's a chemise, baby doll, whatever. Totally fine. Second outfit, teeter your comfort zone just a little bit. Like get close to that. You know, maybe it's like no robe, but it's a teddy or a bodysuit, something a little more conforming to the body.
Mm-hmm.
And then on your third outfit, go outside your comfort zone. Push yourself a little bit too. So maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
just a sheet or a two piece or topless or whatever it is, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe for some people it is the teddy or the one piece. That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Totally fine. But push yourself because I have a theory of the more uncomfortable we are in safe situations, the more growth that comes from that too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, you push yourself, whatever it is, and then I'll just help encourage you along the way, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It almost sounds like a therapy session.
Therapy.
Like,
Yep.
yes, like you go in feeling so vulnerable, but you come out with this ability to be able to say, yeah, no, this is what I
Yep.
want. This is not what I want. I'm in
Yep.
charge.
Yep.
That's cool.
My old therapist asked me to be a therapist. So
Okay.
yeah. I was like, nah, I got this job. I'm good.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, so
Yeah.
then my other question is, okay, this is spandex and wine, and I can see me
Yeah.
saying to you, is it okay if I have a glass or two of wine so I can
Sure.
loosen up? Do you encourage that? Okay, or not encourage,
No.
but allow. Allow, I guess would be the right word.
Allow, yes, within reason.
Okay.
So there's a one glass maximum kind of
Okay.
thing. No red wine because it's going to stain the teeth
Yeah.
kind of thing. I I did a 10-day silent meditation retreat back in December 2019. So I learned a lot about mastering one's mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more that we use things to alter the state of the mind, the less that we can work through things,
Yeah.
right? So I very much encourage no alcohol at all and
Okay.
facing the fears head on, sitting in that vulnerability head on, and really truly feeling it and
Mm-hmm.
not using anything to mask and kind of numb out of it as
Mm-hmm.
well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very rare that I see alcohol in the studio. I haven't seen it probably in the studio for about 2 years because
Okay.
that's kind of how I explain it to them, to you.
I
And
like
then,
that.
yeah, but if they bring it, there's no judgment either. It's
Right.
not, but I would prefer that they don't. And there's more growth that way too,
Yeah.
you know, like that's kind of how I look at it.
I love
So
that.
I
Oh,
hope
that's
that
so
answers your
cool.
question. Yeah.
Now, do you no, you did. Do you have repeat customers then? Because I would think that,
Mhm.
like some people would come in, here's my Nana sweatshirt. And
Yep, that's kind of what happens. There's this I have some clients that are on like their sixth shoot too. And it's a huge like repeat client rate that I have too. I think it's
okay.
anywhere between 30 and 50% and kind of sways throughout the years. And so usually what happens is they'll come in with like their partner's jersey or an oversized sweater, that has like the shoulder cut
Sure.
off. I should have worn one of those today. And they'll do that. Like that'll be like their first group of photos, right? And
Hmm.
then the second group of photos is very much game on, let's go. I'm like,
Yeah.
yep, there she is. That's who I've been waiting for.
Oh, cool. And you can see it. You can
Yeah.
probably see it way
Oh,
before they can see it. Yeah.
yes, yes, and the attitude walking in the door is totally different as well, right? There's a bit more confidence and a bit more of a higher stance, and I'm like, I'm ready, let's go. Let's do it again. And it's a
Hmm.
challenge for me as well because now I have to switch up posing and work a little differently too. And then
Uh-huh.
at that point, I shoot more emotionally so we can tap even further. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of how I operate as well. And then the gals that have come in for like 5 or 6 times, it's fun because I'm just like, I got to build a new set. I got to design something else. Like,
They're challenging you.
yeah, that's pretty much, I think at that point, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Oh, and I
Yeah.
would think that you would want more one-on-one than the bigger groups because I can see how the bigger
Mm-hmm.
groups, people would feel a little more intimidated. You would think just the opposite, but I
Yeah.
feel like the pressure of your friends there at first might put you at ease, but then you're
Mm-hmm.
like, I can't really open up.
Yeah, so I have a hard rule of if your partner wants to come in and like walk you to the door, make sure you're safe. That is totally like 1,000% highly encouraged, totally fine, right? If they have to stay for whatever reason, they can only stay in the hair and makeup room. So I have a separate room for hair and makeup and getting ready. They can stay there
Hmm.
and they can hang out and they can hear us because my studio is about 6,000 square feet. I'm on the fourth floor of a building, so
Oh,
they can
wow.
hear us in all the other rooms. They
Yeah.
cannot watch us.
Yeah.
That is my like hard and steady rule because it never fails that it is awkward. It
Hmm.
is, I don't know how to explain it. I'm an empath and it's hard to like explain what that feels like because now I'm managing the partner and I've got to make sure they're having a great time. So I'm being
Yeah.
pulled two separate directions and
Right.
I'm trying to make sure the client's having a great time and they're getting my full attention as well too. But I've also got an ear over here and then they feel awkward because they're being watched. And
Hmm.
so even though it's their partner, they've been with their partner for 15 years, it is still awkward. And so
Sure.
same with best friends, if they want to come, that's fine. But the rules are there to be your hype girl too, or your hype person. Their support system. There is no tearing one down kind of
Yeah.
thing. There is no negative talk in all of that. You are fully their cheerleader, and which I think that's what friends are. And
Yeah.
this, I've never seen it not be that way, but
Mm-hmm.
just I want to make sure that that's encouraged as well too, and that the
Mm-hmm.
day is not about them. It is about the person in the studio getting their photos taken. So they also stay in the hair and makeup area. But
Mm-hmm.
that's where we get like change and everything too. So as they come out of the changing room, that's where the best friends, they're like, yeah, get it, go, like that.
Yeah.
That's the vibe that I want for the day too.
Yeah.
So we see friends every once in a while. I would say 2 or 3 times a month, but not very often. Most people tend to kind of come by themselves and take a day off and do
Yeah.
it for them too.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's super cool. And I
Yeah.
feel like too, like I hear people when they come into like just to say a yoga class and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
flexible. Yoga is not for me." I can hear people saying,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I'm not thin. I couldn't do that." But
Uh-huh.
size and shape does not matter. We're all beautiful women. And oh,
Right.
men too. Do you do men? But let's touch on the other first.
Yeah. Men's easier to answer. I
Okay.
do, and I have parameters and boundaries within that
Yeah.
too. So I want to make sure that everybody's partners are respected as
Mm-hmm.
well. And then like just safety wise too,
Yes. Yeah.
which is everything going on. So
Yeah.
I maybe get like 1 or 2 guys a year. So it's not very common
Mm-hmm.
that I see them. And then most of them don't do hair and makeup, but it's optional if they would like that as
Mm-hmm.
well. And if they want more masculine or feminine posing, we can do that too. But
Mm-hmm.
to answer your other question, oh gosh, now I forgot. What was it about?
Well, I
Posing
said,
and sizing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sizes. So well, I do hear that a lot that, oh, I need to lose weight, right? That's the most common one we
Yep.
hear.
Yep.
And my question always back is if your best friend who was worried about their weight really wanted to do a boudoir session, what would you tell them? Well, you'd highlight, and oh, yeah, well, I would encourage her to go. Absolutely. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing the same thing to yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, what's really truly stopping you? It's not
Right.
walking in the door because we have everything set and ready to go for you. It's
Mm-hmm.
whatever's going on in here and up here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So deal with that first because I don't care what size you are. It does not matter. Everybody gets put in the same posing. And the only thing that would change that is if there's an injury, and
Sure.
if somebody has a shoulder injury, okay, we're not going to put weight on the shoulder. That
Yeah.
is the only thing. Otherwise, you will see the exact same posing with every single body shape too. Because
Okay.
I don't care what size you are. You deserve to
Yeah.
come in and have your photos
Absolutely.
taken, you know,
Absolutely.
and I will stand on that hill.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. Yes. And I know we've been talking a lot about the boudoir, but you also
Mhm,
do portraits. You said you did some weddings. You said
mhm.
you've been published in various magazines. And
Yeah.
go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, no, go ahead. No, you're fine. Yeah.
No, I was just excited. What the listeners don't know, I do a little questionnaire ahead of time just so I can get
Yeah.
some information. And I thought it was so cool that you said that one of your photos was displayed at Times Square during the New York
Yeah.
Fashion Week. That's super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. That woo, that's an interesting set of emotions. That was
Yeah.
2 Februarys ago.
Okay.
So February 2023. Yes, that's correct. It's a little bit of a blur since 2020.
Yeah.
So what had happened was a client came in and we did beauty portraits, and I was getting ready to like do a gallery showing, and so I had advertised for beauty portraits for all ages to come in, and then they could wear whatever their outfits were that expressed their style. And we
Mm-hmm.
did a variety of portraits for them, kind of like an heirloom portrait that
Mm-hmm.
as morbid as this might sound, that if you were to pass away tomorrow, what images do your friends and family have for you? What are they
Mm-hmm.
going to remember you by? What emotion do
Right.
you want to depict? So I was to the gallery, and then she walked for New York Fashion Week, and they reached out and they wanted one of her photos to display in Times Square. And they had put like, the model was her, and then they put my name, like photo credit, Emily Steele Studios.
Yeah.
So I flew out there to see it too, because that was not on my bucket list.
Yeah. Ah.
But was very much a just kind of this like jab at I've had family members tell me that like photography will always be a hobby and go get a business
Mm-hmm.
job and you'll be happy. And I had the business job and I was miserable.
Yep,
And
me
I cried
too.
every day walking in, right? So to have that, like, I made it to Times Square. Like,
Yes.
there is no doubting that anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's super cool. What a great feeling.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. I stood out there for, I think,
I
three
live in the Kansas
hours.
City area.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I bet I would too.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you're in the Kansas City area.
hmm
So
Yep.
you're
Sorry. I think,
downtown. And oh, that's okay.
oh no, I think either my Wi-Fi or it's getting a little jumpy. I don't know. There it goes. Okay, we're good now. Sorry, it was jumping a little bit
Okay.
and
Okay, we're
I
good.
couldn't hear you.
That's
Yeah.
okay. It happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, you're in the Kansas City area
hmm
and you're downtown, and then
Yep.
people can reach you how?
The best way is probably through my website. So it's emilysteelestudios.com. And then Steele, it's metal with an E on the end. So it's S-T for Tom, E-E-L-E. And that's then usually everybody kind of puts an A in there somewhere. So I like to
Oh,
spell it out.
okay.
And the same thing, all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, it is all under Emily Steele Studios. I try to
Oh,
keep it
okay.
as simple as possible. But
hmm
website's probably the best way because you're going to see more work that way. And then my email's there, phone number's there, contact form is there. That's probably the quickest way if they wanted to reach
hmm
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll make sure I put all of that in the show notes as well. And I want to touch just a little bit since this is spandex and wine. I know when I reached out to you, you had said that you were taking some time for yourself to take care of yourself. And I
hmm
think that's so important. I often, when I ask people, what's your fitness regimen? Same thing as if someone
hmm
walking into your space, they would be like, oh, well, and I
Yep.
just love that you came back with, this is what I'm doing right now. This is where I need to be. So I think it's wonderful that you're taking care of yourself like that.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of that. Gotta like do what I talk to. Like
Yes.
if I'm going to tell everybody, if I'm going to tell you to come in and take a day for you and spend money on yourself, right, and treat yourself, and then I'm not doing that, I just look like a hypocrite at that point,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it always has to be boudoir photos either. Like, huge advocate for mental health, for just going outside for a walk. I started taking a pottery class because I was getting 20 years in photography, especially with weddings, because you're holding the camera all day. I was just getting some hand like nerve issues and I would just start dropping
Uh-huh.
things. And so I thought, I've always wanted to take a pottery class, and that's different muscles in the hands
Right.
too. And I've only been a month in, and I love it. For one, it's my Thursday nights are like it's so much fun. It's Thursday nights, my night, no phone, 2 hours, no
Cool.
distractions, and I just get to play with clay for a little bit, and my hands are feeling better. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's like one step to doing something that I want to do, or
Yeah.
been taking myself out on a date night and doing things like that because
Mm-hmm.
that's not a usual thing for me to get used to. So that's been fun to figure that out. And then just working on my own health. I just had some, like getting older and that whole hormones and
Yeah.
perimenopause, and it is a wild ride.
It is. That's an understatement.
Yeah, and I was not educated going into it.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of grabbing at straws, trying to figure out what's going on. And so I finally was like, nope, the universe kept coming in and pointing me towards the doctor. So I was like, okay, when you hear somebody's name multiple times, it's time to go, right? Like I'm very
Yeah.
much a big believer in things are put in your path for a reason. Things are
Right.
shown in front of you for a reason. And if you're consistently seeing them, you need to pay attention, right? And
Mm-hmm.
being able to slow down enough to watch the coincidences and the synchronicities and to see that and go, okay, there's something to this. And I kept
Mm-hmm.
hearing that doctor's name. So I went and saw her and put like one more test. And then I think I'll get like probably the final answers to what's going on. But
Mm-hmm.
we've been able to stepstone along the way and fix things along the way too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
like we got some stuff fixed and now we're working on the hormones. And then I think there's probably like some gut health that has to get fixed too. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because like working out for me is not in the tables. And I was
Yeah.
gaining too much weight while I was working out. Found out that that was a cortisol issue, that I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
making any cortisol. So I can't handle high stress workout, stuff like that. But I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
working out and lifting weights. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
I know,
Not
and
right
that's a
now.
lot of what you hear. That's a
Yeah.
lot of what you hear, and that's a lot of what I say too. So I'm glad you said that because, I tell people all the time, lift heavy, lift heavy, lift heavy. Well, it depends on you and what's
Uh-huh.
going on in your life. So
Yep.
even though I'm saying that and, I'm going to push that, you have to know your body and you have to know, okay,
Hmm.
should I start there? Should I be doing something else?
Right.
Like what feels right? I mean, ultimately, you should just
Yep.
do what feels good in your body.
Yeah. Agreed. And I ex-athlete, so very much love working out and really enjoyed lifting weights. And just that perimenopause hit, so the emotional side of it kicked in, the depression kicked in, and I'm like, where is all of this coming from? Then it was hard to
Mm-hmm.
get the motivation to go and do it. And then when I did, I noticing I was getting injured for things I should not be getting injured for. Just a simple
Yeah.
press up, and then I'm
Mm-hmm.
hurting my shoulder pretty bad or my knees, and I'm like, something's wrong. And we were keeping
Yeah.
measurements, and I was getting waist bigger. I was like, that's cortisol. Okay. And so I finally went to the doctor, and she's like, yep, you're actually not making hardly any cortisol right now. I was like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, so I have some pretty severe adrenal fatigue stuff going on that I keep telling myself is
Yeah.
temporary. We will get it fixed and we will
Yeah.
heal from this. It's totally fine. But it means yoga and walking. And we got to
Yeah.
slow down.
Yeah.
Right. And I think
Yeah.
that's a heck of a lesson to learn too, because I want to grew up in a lifestyle of working your life away,
Yeah.
and live to work kind of thing. And that's not healthy either.
Right.
So now
Right.
I'm forcing myself to slow down. I'm limiting we only do 3 shoots a week max. And
Mm-hmm.
could I do 5? Sure. But I'm not going to be 100% at day 4 and 5. And
Right.
everybody deserves me at 100%. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's fair to everybody too. So I have to limit the amount of shoots that I do. I have to take more breaks. I'm scheduling more vacations, reading books, doing pottery class, whatever it
Yeah.
takes to heal from all of this, which
Yeah.
means no working out right now.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's just part of it for right now.
Right. And it doesn't mean never,
Mhm.
just right now.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, just right now. So that's kind of how I look at things. Like no is never a never answer. It's just a not
Mm-hmm.
right now. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope that it'll heal within 6 months. It might take a little longer
Yeah.
too. So now I get to learn patience.
Oh, that's a tough one for me. Really tough
Right?
one for me. Well, Emily, is there anything else that you would like the listeners to know?
I don't think so.
I
I
think you
pretty much
covered it
covered
really well.
everything.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's pretty, the shoots are, I mean, the days themselves are standard, follow like a typical timeline kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, but it's very customized per person. So,
Okay.
like, if you came in, it would be what are your goals? What are you looking for? What style of photos do you want? But the day itself would still have kind of the same flow to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that would be the only thing that I want everybody to know, that it's not the same. 3 days a week are never the exact same
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
might do photos on the same couch, sure, but it's shot differently and it's worked differently, and people have different goals and different ambitions for what they're looking for. So that's where the customization comes in, I would
Okay.
say. Yeah.
Cool. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, now I feel better. I'm gonna have to get something scheduled with you. Which means I have to tell the listeners, okay, I did it. I did it.
Right. Now you're going to have to put your
Now I'm
money
on
where
the
your mouth is. Yeah.
hook. Well, Emily, I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. This was great.
Same, same. I'm glad that it worked out too.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
What a cool job. Thanks, Emily, for sharing your time and story. Here are a few takeaways. 1, if you're looking for empowerment or to reclaim/build self-confidence, book a boudoir session. Check the show notes for Emily's info or visit emilysteelestudios.com. 2, size doesn't matter or shape. You are beautiful and deserve to feel that way. 3, the more uncomfortable we are in safe situations, the more we grow. Push yourself and surround yourself with those that will encourage you. 4, the more that we use things such as alcohol to alter the state of mind, the less we can work through things. Face fears head on without using anything to mask or numb out of it. I'm booking my session with Emily, so if I forget to report back to you guys, nudge me. I'll probably post it in our private Facebook group. You can find that at Spandex and Wine on Facebook. Thanks for listening, and please share this episode with a friend who deserves to feel beautiful and empowered. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to follow Spandex and Wine so you don't miss an episode. To do this, just go to the podcast and click subscribe or follow wherever you are listening. Look for the plus sign or follow button. This is one of the best things that you can do for the podcast. If you'd also be willing to give a 5-star review, that would be amazing and much appreciated. Lastly, please share an episode with a friend or 5 to keep the love going, and join the Spandex and Wine community in our private Facebook group by searching Spandex and Wine. Feel free to reach out to me at any time by emailing info@spandexandwine.com or text me at 913-392-2877. I appreciate you. Thank you.